So we are in the middle of December now, and welcome to podcast 36 of the Cross Anime. Again, I'm Mario, and with me is Whooper.
That's me.
Alright, so this week we're gonna cover the episode 10 of Run with the Wind, episode 10 of Gridman, 8 and 9, 9 and 10 actually, of Burning Senpai, the new show that we decided to cover.
Yep.
And also we decided to speed through the material of the manga of Flower of Evil manga. So we're gonna do volume 2 and 3 this week. And finally episode 4 of January.
Right. That's
Alright,
correct.
so let's get the new one out of the bag.
Okay. All right. You start.
Burning Senpai.
Yep.
This is one of the show where I must confess that I always have a soft spot for this kind of show. Where the main characters are smart ass main characters try to save the girls around him.
I would say just ass.
Well, he's smart. No, he's not smart.
I don't know. Maybe he is.
He tried to sound smart.
He sure does.
So this is this kind of show that I sometimes I do have an issue with that, but the main thing is that he save the characters, and the female characters become the bad, not better,
They're cured.
they they cure.
That is pretty much. I mean, I'm gonna try not to make fun of this show too much, so we can have a real discussion about it. But it is true. It is true that the formula of the show is that he cures all the other characters. That's basically what's going on. He fixes their supernatural adolescence problems.
Yep.
And I mean,
So-
that's it's fine.
So let's get into the last 2-3 episodes of the show.
I only took notes on the last two, which was
All right.
it was just the 2-episode arc about Nodoka.
All right. So that's the second half of the Futaba arc. The Futaba is the member of the science club.
Yeah, I didn't.
Uh,
I mean, I watched that
yep.
episode, but I didn't take any notes about it. We can talk about it, I
Oh.
guess, if you want.
Oh, so the last 2 episodes is actually about
Nodoka.
Nodoka. So my little sisters. All right, we can talk about the new act, because I always thought that it's had to do with the previous acts as well. But yeah, we can talk about the new act. So Nodokas.
Right. Yeah. Should we
All
actually?
right.
We actually saw her before. Episode 9 is where this arc starts, and we actually saw her before that on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Just briefly,
Yep.
she was she was on one of those interview shows or panel shows that they have in Japan, where popular personalities or idols are on there, and the guy asks her a
Yep.
question. What do you like? And she goes, I like my Sakurajima. So we
Yep.
saw her before. I guess that sets up her appearance in this arc.
Yep. You remember the band that's she from?
Shoot, I don't think I remember the name. What is it?
I no, I tried to remember as well. It's something. It have an English name.
Oh,
And-
isn't it Sweet Bullet?
I think so. Yes. Yeah. Wow.
I did it.
You did remember that.
Yeah, and I remember the song and dance scene as well, where they go to that little
Yep.
live venue, live house. And I thought it was pretty admirably animated, at least in comparison to Zombieland Saga, which did a similar thing, but had to get computers involved because they were like, oh no, we're gonna have to animate people moving their arms and legs at the same time. We can't do this. Somebody get a CGI studio on the phone.
Maybe it's not a fair comparisons, because Zombieland Saga had to do that every single week. Whereas in Bendigo Senpai, they only need to do that once or maybe twice.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So yeah, they can spend the energy. They can reserve the energy to do this. How would you compare this arc in regard to all the previous arc?
Man, I don't know. I watched this show like week to week, for the first, let's say, seven weeks, something like that.
Yeah.
And then the last few episodes I watched I quit. I was like, I'm finished. And then the last 3 episodes I watched all in a row. I blitzed through them to catch up for our podcast. So how does it compare, man? I don't know.
You must have
It's better.
a
It's better.
favorite arc?
I have a least favorite. It's the one with the freshman girl.
All right. Yep.
The underclassman or whatever. Her
Yep.
peach-shaped
think
girl.
I think her name is Kade.
No, Kaide is the name of the sister.
Tomoe. Sorry.
Okay, Tomoe. That sounds like a Japanese name. We'll go with that. That's my least favorite, because
Alright.
her issue was basically like, what was her issue? She was just in love with the main guy, right?
Not really, because they have like a loop. So basically, they just repeat the loop again because at first he doesn't want a guy to confess to her.
Right. Oh, that's right. Because her friend is in love with that guy. She doesn't want to
That's right.
wreck her friendship with her friend.
Yeah.
But that's kind of interesting. But then,
Yeah.
like, it just transforms into her loving the main guy.
Yep.
So
yep.
not totally a fan of that. So that's my
Alright.
least favorite. So in comparison to that, every other arc stacks up pretty well.
Right. Well, I could say that that arc isn't my favorite as well. I think it's among the least important because even the story even like the character herself.
She just disappears.
Yeah, she's not that important compared to the main characters. With the main character compared to other characters, so like you see Mai keep popping up. You see the scientists, the science girls,
Right.
Futaba.
She's very important because she has
Yeah.
to explain what's going on all the time.
Right. Yeah, and we still see like his sisters, like popping up some of the times. Oh, I don't like his sisters. She gonna be in the next episode though.
Yeah. Well,
But-
we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Right now, we got Nodoka to worry about.
Yeah, right. So
So she's Mai's half sister.
yeah,
Their dad
and-
remarried.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, one of them is blonde and the other one is black hair.
Right. I mean,
Doesn't make sense.
well, we see Nodoka's mother and she's a brunette. But we also
right.
see that Nodoka is a brunette in a flashback. So she dyed her hair.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And
That's true.
she might even be wearing blue contact lenses.
Yep, that's right.
It might be like part of the she's in the idol group, so it might be her role is to be the gaijin or something.
Right. All right. So, talking back about this arc, I just feel like I don't like this arc compared to the Futaba or the first one, the mice arc.
Why is that?
I just feel that the resolutions that they come up with is not that effective.
What was the resolution? Oh, I remember. Are you
So-
talking
so-
about like specifically the scene at the end where the two girls are like talking out their problems, kind of?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yes.
Okay.
So I think like Bunnico Senpai had always had that kind of resolution, like when they confront the issue head on. So they tell each other all the problems, and then resolve it by that. So even like in Tomoe, X, they they resolve the issue by having her, like finally confess her true feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So and in Futaba as well. So that is kind of, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I feel like it's kind of repetitive now. That like Nodoka and Mai have like a half failed talk together and then resolve the issues.
Well, it's interesting that you say it's repetitive because it just struck me that it's actually not Sakuta who cures the
Oh, right.
the person in question this time. It's actually Mai,
Mhm.
because they're having that talk. After Nodoka has taken Mai's place at the commercial shoot, and
Mhm.
after like a couple false starts where she like hyperventilates and has an anxiety attack, she finally works through it, and then Mai,
Mhm.
she does her part to make Nadoka's show go off without a hitch. After all that stuff, like the two sisters are coming to understand one another by living each other's lives, and then that is
Right.
so it's actually Mai who's taking care of the issue here. And at the very end, the two girls are like having a heart-to-heart talk, and Mai tells her, if you want to make your mom proud, if you want to get along with your mom, follow your dream, not hers. And as soon as Nodoka says, like, she kind of agrees with that and says that she doesn't want to be like her sister,
Mhm.
that's when that
Mhm.
like that popping sound happens and they both return
Yep.
to their normal forms. So
Right.
it's really Mai who I would
Yep.
I would kind of argue that this isn't repetitive. Like this is the show breaking its own mold. Sakuta's
Alright.
kind of just along for the ride.
Yep. And setting up for the next act.
Right. Well, he's definitely going to be the problem solver this time.
Alright. Yep. I actually agree with what you just said.
I hadn't thought of any of that until just now.
Yep. And well, maybe that have to do with me don't really relate it to Nodoka as a character.
Okay.
Oh well.
You didn't have a half sister who was like better than you at everything or anything. Like
Yeah, I don't have like any sister who look up to me, like Nodoka to my, so no, I can't relate it to her at all.
I mean, I have a younger brother, but he doesn't look up to me.
Well, so we have the same issues.
I kind of thought this arc was, like kind of good.
All right, yep.
Like, because Nodoka has she's got an inferiority complex.
Yep.
She's made to compete against her half sibling by her
Yep.
mother, and Mai has like the same thing going on. Their mothers were apparently competing with one another via their daughters. It was like some kind of weird proxy war.
Yep.
And that's actually kind of tragic.
It is kind of tragic. It's a kind of predictable as well. I mean like by the first few minutes of the last of the episode 9, we can pretty much tell that like Nodoka have a inferior complex against Might.
Yeah, but by the first couple of minutes of any arc in this show, you can figure out that
The problems, hey, that's right.
that the main girl's got some sort of problem, and Sakuta or Mai is gonna have to fix it.
Yep.
I mean, I thought that one scene that I really liked was
Yep.
because they're oh wait, earlier I said that they had body swap, that they're occupying each other's bodies, which actually isn't true. They just assumed each other's physical appearances.
That's right.
That's how Futaba explains it later. At the very end, when Sakuta's like, explain, science girl, quick, explain the show to me. So the scene that I liked was after
Futaba.
after the live performance. No, I can take or leave her. She's not that interesting, in my opinion.
Right.
The scene that I liked was
hold on, come on, she had big boobs.
well, yeah, I mean she does, but that's a common trait amongst many characters in anime. So that's not anything special.
All right, yep. Going on.
I lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
Hold on. Oh yeah, the scene after the live performance, like the idol performance, where Nodoka's mom is like praising
Yep.
who she assumes is her daughter, but
Hmm.
it's actually Mai, and then later on, Nodoka's like that was supposed to be me. Like
Yep.
even when I succeed, or when quote unquote I succeed, when it's supposed to be like something that I've done well, you still get all the credit. You know, which isn't totally logical of her to say because you know
Hmm.
they look like each other. There's no way for her mother to know, but
Yep.
you still get the like the emotion of the scene. You still get the impression that she really, even though she hates her mother for putting her into this situation and putting so much pressure on her, she still wants love from her parents.
Yeah. She still want her acceptance.
Yeah, and the show does a good job of making her out to be like, sometimes in anime kids are like too mature,
Yep.
not like physically or anything, but they're too well spoken, or they don't act like act like children. But I think
Yep.
they did a, even though this show has a bunch of waifu bait in it, and there was a temptation to make Nodoka into just like another part of that, they do
Yep.
make her into a pretty effective kid. Like for example, when Sakuta goes over to Mai's apartment where she's living, you see all
Yep.
the dirty dishes in the sink and all the clothes on the floor and stuff. There's just a mess
Hmm.
everywhere.
Yep.
She's just not a mature person, you know, and
Yeah.
I think that comes
I
through.
I was thinking about the later scenes where she was hurt by by seeing her mother praising Might,
Hmm.
that she decided to go to the beach, and she decided to I don't know what she want to do, maybe commit
Oh
suicide.
yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm just gonna. Nobody needs me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
take a swim.
And I was like, oh my god, that girl. But apparently she just wanted to do that so that the main guy, our main guy Sakuta, can save her, or like give her some solace. Some
That's not totally clear, right?
Yeah, that's not totally clear.
It does seem like she's trying to like she's trying to kill herself, but
She,
the tone of the
yeah,
scene doesn't totally match.
yeah. But that's confusing because I think Sakuta is confused as well by her, by whatever decision she made.
Yeah, I would be
So
too.
yeah, I would be too.
Thank
So
God
yeah,
Mai was
well,
there later to
yeah.
fix everything.
So yeah, it is an alright act. I wanted it to be like longer, because I wanted an act to be like 2 or 3 so they can spread not spread out, they can go into detail more.
Yeah, I mean this was
But
2 episodes, 9 and 10, and
yep.
So was Futaba's arc. I think that was only 2 episodes. Although
Yeah, I,
Futaba
I
as a character had been introduced long before that, and we knew about her crush on his friend,
mhm,
and that had been building for a while.
that's right. So anyway, the next act gonna be about Kade and her own issues, which I just hope that like they build up the sister character properly, because just she have a tragic past for sure, but the way she behave now, it's just like, oh, Onisan, you are the greatest man on earth. Why you bring many girls back home, and I need to shut up because of that.
Yeah, she calls him a gigolo
Yeah.
in, I think
Yeah,
in
that's right.
episode 10 or
Yep.
9.
Yep. Yeah, when he bring Nodoka, which actually was mine,
Right.
back home.
Oh, my notes for these 2 episodes have so many references to Nodoka, and then in parentheses in Mai's body, or
Yep.
Mai in parentheses in Nodoka's body.
Right.
Just a mess.
But
And I was
yeah,
wrong the
but
whole time.
yeah, but actually it's very fun to see my characters. Like my always act very maturely, but it's actually fun to see my acting. Like immature in Nodoka's personalities.
Right. You
So
mean in
I
with her form?
well with her form, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So So yeah, it's been a rewarding
Or wait,
ride.
did you mean it's fun to see her? See,
It fun.
I'm confused.
All right. It's fun to see my bod not body, my physical appearance acting all shy
Okay,
and immature.
gotcha. Well, I mean, that's the thing about this show is like it really wants to have its cake and eat it too with Sakurajima's character because she's she's always like bantering with the main guy and stuff, and then he'll say something suggestive or inappropriate, and then she'll like stammer and blush and be like,
Mm.
"Baka."
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
just
That's right.
not
Well,
not my favorite trope.
yeah, that's when the show leaning on the line of tropes like that, like what we just said, or like when they kind of like making a remark about that about what the main character is supposed to be. Like sometimes they do like like when people come up with me saying that they're supposed to say this, but Sakuta's say different things. I just don't like the way they do that though.
But I mean, that's like one of the main. I think that's part of the main appeal of the show.
Ah, all right.
Don't you think so?
So
Like for a lot of people, they think Sakuta is like
it
really clever and
like defies on the like on the line of joke, but I that actually take me out of the context because I want it to be real. I don't want it to be like a smarter version of of of, of the harem tropes.
I mean, if you if you are gonna say the sentence "I want it to be real," you've come to the wrong place, buddy. This is an anime podcast. You might be lost.
All right. All the body swapping that kind of make me lost.
Yeah, I thought it was all right. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not a big fan of this show, but I still found it watchable.
yeah. I actually really interested to see Shoko Maki Nohara. That's the
Is that the girl who's like time traveling or something?
I'm not really sure if she time traveling. She just like I just feel like she doesn't age, or she become younger for some reasons. So
Yeah.
so we don't know the issue yet, but I actually pretty interested in like finding out.
It's strange that
And
she faded into the background after being introduced to make way for like two different arcs. I don't really get that.
yeah, well, she gonna be apparent like in the fifth and sixth novel of the line novels. So like it's like basically just after the little sister act. But then again, we will never see the live update.
Yeah, we only have 3 more episodes of this.
Two, I think, or three.
I think it's 13. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, so that's gonna be the little sister act.
Hooray.
Hooray! Yep. All right, let's talk about something else because we're just burning through like 20 something minutes of
Okay.
Vertigo Senpai.
What else is there to talk about?
All right. Run with the Wind.
Okay. Episode
I
10.
Yeah, episode 10. So this episode is when Kakeru and Prince working together.
Yeah, that seemed to be the main character pairing this week.
Yep. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it was good, man.
It's good to see like Prince actually like run in the right form.
Yes,
So,
finally. I've been waiting
yeah.
for so long. It feels like years I've been waiting for him to start, for him to get his elbows like removed from his side.
I feel like the way that like Kekuru tried to put a manga like in front of him for him to run is a bit is a bit anime.
Yeah, I agree.
But apart from that, like it's good. Oh, and I do feel like the last track meet that they only have Kakeru and Prince running is a bit like too convenient to
Yep.
just out there like just to get the feeling out of us.
I
But
thought that as well because they had 5 people run the last one, so I figured they would have 5 people run again, especially
yep,
since two of them would be Kakadu and Prince, but of course
yep,
they want to have the other 8 members of the team like on the sidelines cheering them on. It
y-
yeah, it's a little It's a little too,
contrived.
yeah, but it's okay. I got a good
Yeah,
feeling from it, anyways.
that's right. I think the main thing about them, about Kakeru and Pring, is that they like opposite side of the spectrum. One of them is running really fast, don't never look back, and the other one just stay behind. And to make them like into one team, into like seeing the same size of the pictures, is actually pretty good.
Yeah, pretty difficult
Yep,
for
but
the
they put it off.
yeah, and it took a while, as
Mm-hmm.
well it should, because they couldn't become best friends or even really understand each other right off the
Yep.
bat. They're just
So
way too different.
that's right, and I really like the way that like Kakeru, uh, like yeah, he taking a step back. So like I remember he mentioned to Hachi that like for the first time I actually see Prince running properly, so I can see many of his problems, and Hachi was just like, so this was the first time that have a proper look to Prince. Yeah. So yeah, um, what was I about to say? Oh yeah, so I really like the way that he was like actively like asking Prince about the manga. So he want to like to step into Prince mind.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And he
yeah,
was
like
spending time in his room,
yep,
probably because he couldn't spend time in his own room while Prince was exercising, because the
yeah,
dust
right,
the dust would be raining down from the ceiling.
yep, that's right.
Why did he put the treadmill in his own room? Why not put it like in a living
Be-
area?
Because I think he want to read the manga and he wants his own privacy.
Take the manga down with you and read it on the treadmill.
So he would take like the whole lot, like 20 volumes.
Do you
So
think
instead of just
while
stay
he's
the
running on the treadmill he like switches volumes? He like burns through one of them and then just reaches over and grabs the next one.
Yeah, I think that's what he does. Man,
That'd be pretty good for stamina.
well,
You
yeah,
just keep
well,
running until you're done with an entire series.
I had to say that it's pretty good of Prince, to punch through on this manga, because I for one volume that I think I would take hours to read it.
You take hours to read a single volume. How
Yeah,
long did it
because
take you to read like a 6 chapters of Flowers of Evil?
w- I mean like I I'm okay with reading like normal books like novels, but like when it comes to manga or even comics, I have to read all these all the thing that they say on the dialogues, and then I have to look at the pictures. So like it took twice as much time.
I'm afraid that I'm a bit of a speed reading casual when it comes
Alright.
to manga. I just like my eyes just kind of
Speed.
gloss over the pictures a little bit. I have to remind myself to slow down and look at them, and I don't always
Right.
do it.
Yeah, because I remember I read the two chapters of Flower Evils, and even that I read it before. I think I took like an hour or two to
Yeah,
finish it.
it takes me about an hour to read a volume of Flowers of Evil.
Oh, a volume. You mean a volume? I mean I just yeah, yep, right.
Yeah, like 6 chapters, 5 chapters.
6 chapters. Yep. All right. So get back to the
Oh, that's right. We were talking about anime. I think the like Prince's running form never made sense. The little Velociraptor arms by his sides chicken walk thing that he did, it never looked right. It always looked kind of cartoony. So I think it's okay that Kakeru's method for teaching him was so like on the nose.
yep.
Because like if it didn't approach realism to start, then it's okay that his teaching method doesn't really isn't really realistic either.
Right. Talking about Haichi though, so
Were we talking about Haiji?
no. So I mean like now we're talking about Haichi.
Okay.
So like the thing that you're afraid was actually happening. So he would just overwork. So that he
Oh,
just,
right.
yeah. he passed out.
Yeah, I
Basically,
wanted it to be related to his injury, but
yeah.
it was just overwork. But you know that it's okay. Like the show needed to get Haiji out of commission for a little bit so that
Yep,
Kakeru could step into a leadership role, and then
that's right.
that
So yeah,
because that pushes his whole thing with Prince forward.
hmm
And I mean
I
it's
agree.
obviously some strings are being pulled here in order to get some characters
Yep,
together where they need to be so that their relationships can change and evolve.
yep,
But that, I mean,
right.
like that's how storytelling works. You know, your characters they're
Uh,
not real. They don't have lives of their own. They don't do things by themselves.
yeah. Well, if they be tactful enough, we don't see those pull though. In the last episode, we can see some of these, like string pulling from the mangaka or from the the staff.
Yeah,
So I
I
I just I just wanted them to be more subtlety, more subtle.
I feel like I can almost always see the strings being pulled, like no matter what series it is I'm watching.
Hmm, hmm,
It's
hmm.
only the really good ones that will make me it.
Feel
They don't
natural.
necessarily. Well, yeah, exactly. They don't necessarily disguise their authorial intentions, but
Hmm.
the show just or the book or the film or what have you, it just sucks you in so effectively that you aren't looking anymore. You don't even you're not looking for the strings. They might be in front of your face, but
Yep,
that's not what you're looking at. You're fixated on the characters and the story.
that's right. That's right. So for now, I feel like Run with the Wind is it's walk a right path. By that I mean like even though I know that they put some string, I don't really care because like the um the emotional payoff, the payoff in general is pretty good.
Yeah, it is. I was pretty emotional when Prince made it under 30 minutes. I was
Yeah.
I wanted to cheer with all the other guys.
Yep.
And
Yep.
he's actually as like his character's very effective comic relief.
Hmm.
And he presents a very clear problem for a sports show that is centered around speed.
Yep.
You know, there's his character like brings a lot to the table. There are a lot of different problems that he presents and roles that he plays and stuff.
Hmm.
But he's never been a favorite of mine.
All right. Yeah.
Um,
Right.
nevertheless, I was happy to see him succeed, and
Hmm.
I mean part of that is the nice job that they did with his story up until this point, but part of it is also that I like the characters in general.
Hmm.
So if they're happy and they're celebrating that one of their friends has broken an important barrier,
Yep.
then I'm going to do the same.
Yep. 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 Agree. So yeah, so far so good. So far the show is still very solid.
Yeah. You
Uh,
say solid about the show every week. You
I
always say the word solid.
that that's the main adjective that I think about this show. Whenever I think about Run with the Wind, I think it's solid.
I mean, it's one of my favorite shows of the year, so it's going to
Yeah.
rank a little bit better than solid for me.
All right.
But
It,
I do think it's consistent.
right. All right. You have any other notes on the shows?
Yeah, I have a few, but I don't think they're worth getting into. You know, the main thing here is Kakeru and Prince.
Please.
We talked about that for a bit. We
Mhm.
got to move on because we talked about the light novel thing for like 23 minutes.
The line of the things. Don't
Right,
don't
right.
say about one of my favorite shows. Oh, it's not even my favorite show, but it's one of the more popular shows
It is. It's
of the
very popular.
seasons. All right, so let's get to my actual favorite shows, Gridman.
All right. I thought this episode was a big step down
Yeah, well, I
from the
I,
Dream
I
episode.
I think so too. Yes, it's not a big step down. It's just a step down, but it's a step down nonetheless.
I mean, I have almost nothing to say about this episode, honestly.
All right, I
Like
fa-
Akane's suicide attempt in episode 9.
Yep.
How can her like her sadness in this episode and her like
Compared
questioning
to
her
that, right?
purpose. Yeah, how
Yeah.
can it possibly compare? Where do you go from here?
Yeah, right. Well, I actually find one thing interesting though, because you always feel that the show going too fast, right?
Um Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, because I always feel that the show running too slow, and I just wanted to like to know why we feel different about like treatment, because I can see that sometimes it goes so far as well, but most of the time I just think it's just lingering. It just
Well,
it.
how about this episode in particular? Did you feel as
All
though
right, I feel
this
slow.
was like really?
Yeah,
There's like two separate kaiju fights.
that's the thing as well, because I think it's slow, but I also remember that there are two catches fight in the span of like just few minutes, but I also see that the first 15 minutes of it really slow.
Well, how about Anti uh,
Yep,
going from hating Gridman and deciding, oh, I
yep.
he's it's my purpose to destroy him, and then by the end of this episode, it's revealed that he is in actuality Grid Knight, and he helps to save Gridman.
Yep.
That's pretty quick, I'd
That
say.
that's pretty quick, but then again, uh, it just feels slow for me. It just feels like we don't step forward a bit much.
Well,
Like
that's part of that's
I
that's part of
can
why I was
still,
disappointed by this episode.
yeah, I can still misery now. She have a chance to talk to Gridman, so things might be happening
She
the
has a
next
chance to
week.
stab Gridman.
He no not well. Gridman is basically just a computer screen, so she can't stop
Well, but
Gridman.
she tries to. She stabs the person who she thinks is Gridman,
Yeah.
or who she thought was Gridman until recently.
Well, the thing is like is Utah the are Utah Rika and Show a real person at all, or is that just like they are created by Akane?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like when your show dabbles too much in a certain character is a god, or is this all a simulation, or is it all a dream, or all of that, then
Yep.
you run the risk of the stakes just getting lower and lower. If you have her stab this character at the very end of the series, and then your immediate instinct is like, well, wait, does it even matter? Because he might just be a figment of her imagination, or he might just be a construction of one of her kaiju. Then
Yep.
like where's the drama?
Yes, I agree. But now the drama is come back to like Akane figuring out, like trying to be. I think it's now all about Akane. It's not about our main characters anymore. It's about her. Like because she's I think she escaped to this world because she wanted to be like just an escapee, just want everything to perfect in her world, and now it doesn't work anymore. So she just tried to, I don't even know what she tried to do. She just run
Yeah,
away.
a lot of character motivations feeling pretty foggy, feeling pretty unclear. The entire
Yeah.
nature of reality, we don't know what it is.
Eh,
Anti is Grid Knight now. I
Yay.
I'm a little lost, man. Like I definitely enjoy watching the show because it's constantly surprising.
Yep.
It's pretty inventive. It makes me feel um, it doesn't like totally lose me in its adherence to like Super Sentai stuff or Tokusatsu
Mm.
stuff.
Yep. Yep.
It's I can follow right along because there are some touchstones, some characteristics that it shares with other anime series.
Mm.
And the characters are decent, but
Right.
sometimes its head is just up its own ass, and that's pretty much how I felt while watching this. I was like, oh
All
no, I
right.
need a reason. I need a reason to care.
Yep. Well, I would say that this episode is one of my least favorite of Gridman. It's because it's more like a transitioning episodes between like the revealing of last week, and the final and the climax. So
Yeah, it did seem to be an opportunity for a lot of the characters to process the fact that Akane is actually, or is
it
she, a god.
Yeah.
A lot like the show seemed to be catching up with itself after throwing that curveball out
Mm.
like way ahead of itself.
That's right. That's right. And
Um, but
yeah,
I was a little
underwhelming,
yeah, a little underwhelmed.
disappointed. Yep.
But I mean
Uh,
that's okay because last week was great.
oh, that last week was really really good. It's great. Yes. So yep. I just hope that for the next 2 or 3 episodes that it has it just it can blow me out the window again.
Is Gridman really that kind of show? I don't
Hmm.
know.
I don't know. Well,
Like when you talk
well
about getting blown away in general, like
yep.
oh here, you know how there was that like weird baby shark hybrid kaiju thing that Akane made. You know when
Right.
she hands Alexis the like the half formed kaiju and it just looks like a weird fleshy shark thing.
Yep. Uh-huh.
So the thing that pops out of that, with the weird like the weird Gurren Lagann looking banana head
Yep.
mech that's really powerful.
Yep.
That
Yep. Yep.
the way that thing like moved and how physically dominant it was and stuff. That's the sort of thing that when you think about anime is typically what blows people away. And it was
Oh.
really cool looking and stuff. But the whole time that it was fighting, I was like, so what?
Yep.
So
Yep.
if Gridman is going to blow me away, I don't understand how it will manage to do that when it's already like let the Akane is God thing out of the bag. I don't know what is left in the tank.
Yeah, well, for one thing, I know for sure that Gridman constantly surprise me. So I think that they still have some trick, uh, like up the back.
We need
So
Kaiju Girl from episode 6 to come back.
yeah, maybe see.
We need her to come back and save the day.
I wouldn't rule out anything, because
Yeah.
because the thing is we still don't know the Akane main issues. Why she need to hide away from this world.
I mean, her
Oh,
main issue is just that she's like a
so
troubled teenager and she's like probably lonely or something. I don't know.
yes,
That's
so she had her own drama, and we haven't learned about that yet. I was hoping that we can learn some of that this week. Turn out that we didn't learn anything at all.
yeah. Except that
Oh,
Auntie is actually Grid Knight.
yeah, except for one single, like amusing, a bit of deadpan scenes where our team, Gridman team, just said like we need to go to Akane house, and they just basically just walk to the next door.
Oh, that's right. No,
Yeah.
wait, they didn't walk next door, did they?
They did walk next door. They just like come out of the junk store, walk into the next house, and there is Akane house.
But that wasn't actually Akane's house because the door led to like the weird city,
Yeah, the weird cities.
cyber city thing.
Yeah, but it's about to be Akane house. Yes,
Wow, I
and
didn't
and
get the sense that that house was right next to theirs at all.
yeah, and actually that was something that Amagi our the guy from our website from our blog, he mentioned me back in episode 3 or 4
That they lived next to each other.
they live next to each other. Like Gridman had been giving hints about that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just not
Well,
not big brained enough to to have seen that, I guess.
well, we didn't we like we can't catch up on that. Based on just some single shot.
Well, some people can apparently.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. That guy. Yes.
So what's the significance of them living next to one another?
That's the thing, because we don't see any significant yet. But it take me one thing though, that you remember Yukta, he was passed out before he have an amnesia. He was passed out right in front of Rika's house. So maybe it has something to do with Akane. That's the only takeaway that I have.
Okay, I don't really get that, but
Mm.
I'll just wait till next week and see what shows up on my computer screen.
That's right. That's right.
That's all I seem to be able to do when it comes to this
Good
series.
man. Yeah. But anyway, this episode is a disappointment for me.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it's any better.
Yeah.
Are there? I think there are only 2 episodes left of this one.
All right. All right.
So we got the stabbing that was at the end. That was pretty climactic, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So then the big conflict going to be in the next episode, and then wrap it all up in 12. I don't know.
Yep. Yep. All right. Let's see. Maybe it's then revealing that Yuta is not actually a person, a human, or something. You never know for sure.
Yeah, I sure don't.
Yeah. All right. You all right with we get into another show?
I'm all right with it.
All right. So let's get to actually get to the manga. So Flower of Evils Volume 2 and 3.
Okay, so I've already I saw the anime, so I've already I already knew all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single thing that happened, I vaguely remembered.
Yeah.
So it looks like the adaptation was pretty faithful,
Yeah.
art style aside.
Yep. So do you remember the event clearly before reading the manga?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah, I did.
It's strange, hey. It because like some of the anime or manga, some of the event I will eventually forget. But for
Man,
Flower Evils, I actually have a very good like memory of it.
Yeah, well, I think it helps that each chapter and probably each episode is so focused on one
Single event.
specific thing.
Mm.
Because there are a lot of conversations between Kasuga and Nakamura.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And there's a lot of Kasuga's like internal monologue and that takes up so much of each chapter and of each episode, I suppose, that the actual events like
Mm-hmm.
them going Saiki and Kasuga going on a date, or just a series of conversations that happen at school or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
that will take up the rest of the time. So
Alright.
you're free to remember that really, really clearly, because everything else around it is just pretty much the characters fleshing themselves out via dialogue and
Yep.
internal monologue and such.
Yep. So like we
Plus,
can
it's
say,
easy to remember people like messing up their own classroom to that degree.
yeah. Well, I think it's like the event where they just like uh mash up all these in the class, all the things in the class. It was actually one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah,
Sequence
I
in the manga.
remember it pretty clearly.
It I just remember because like for me Flower of Evil is like a string of a point of no return, because it's some way like Katsura reach a new level up. There's no turning back. There's no turning back. It's like it's a chain that I can't turn back, but I eventually I failed to do that. So that's matching up with like with the classroom. It's like one of like the new point of no return for me, for him.
Yeah, well, definitely, because he essentially confesses to everything by writing it on the blackboard,
Yep.
and then conveniently, his name is obscured by the ink.
Yeah, that's right. That's
And
like
I can't remember, was it him or was it Nakamura who I should have written that down, because that's actually really important. She
Yep.
may have manipulated it to turn out the way it did if she was the one covering the walls in ink.
he's the one who do that.
Okay.
She's the one who gave him the inks, and he's the one who just run around the classroom.
Okay, so
they-
he's the one who puts the ink on the wall, but she's the one who gives it to him.
That's right. Yep.
Perhaps she was hoping for that result,
Mm. I
so
say
that she
that
continue to like play with him the way she has been.
I say that she doesn't care that much. She just want to make some noise. like having
Uh,
some fun.
I don't think she's that simple.
Well, well,
She
I think
certainly presents herself that way, when she proclaims that things are boring when they're no longer fun for her and all that. But I don't think that she's so like id driven that
mm,
she just takes things as they come and doesn't like look forward at all. I think she probably does.
yeah. But the one thing that she does really effectively is that she push Kasuga into his limit. Just pushing self up. What the my manga say is that she keep peeling off his skin
Yeah, that's in my translation as well.
one layer after another,
Yep, pretty
and
gross.
yeah, that's right. When you think about it, yes. Um, these two volume also give us much about Psyche as well, and she's just a poor girl for me. She just
In what way is she poor? Like
uh
pitiable?
yeah, in a way that like she give her all to a guy that really doesn't deserve her.
Well, I don't think that people like really deserve one another,
It,
you
it,
know.
it's just like it deserve mean that he doesn't really think about Psyche that much.
Well, he does,
He
but not in a way that is particularly, I don't know, like romantic. He idolizes her.
Yeah, he idolizes her, but
He doesn't think of her as being like a human being.
yes, like a goddess,
Right.
uh, like a muse. That's what they say, like a muse.
Yeah, and yeah. But when he like breaks down at the end in episode or chapter 17,
All right.
he says to him he says not to himself, maybe it is to himself, but he says it in the presence of Psyche and Nakamura.
Yep.
He says that I'm not normal. I can't be in a normal relationship.
Right.
I just wanted Psyche to like yeah, to be my muse, like you said.
Yep.
So
So
he doesn't think of her as like a romantic partner or
mm,
as any kind of peer or equal or anything like that. And I think the reason that he views her that way is because, well, there's her attractiveness to consider,
mhm,
and the fact that he's got hormones racing through him and everything as a middle school kid.
mhm,
But I think he has a lot of is like he's really disgusted with himself.
mm.
So he doesn't really want to view Psyche
Yeah. Yep.
as somebody who's on his level, just like a human being.
Right.
That's why he's so infatuated with Nakamura, because
Yep.
she's willing to call him like a slug and a worm to his face, and I think that's what he really thinks about himself. That's why he keeps going back to her.
Right. Right. I think that's a good read on his characters. Um. And
I
it
skipped ahead to chapter 17. Sorry.
you skip ahead. Oh, that's alright. uh. Well, I mean, like, Saki is pretty serious about the relationship, whereas, and there was a chance for the man, for the boy, who can actually confess everything to her. When they was in her room.
Right, when he brings the printouts when she's sick.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
not,
that's
she's
right.
not sick. She's staying home because she's
Shock.
yeah, in like there were some translators notes at the end of that chapter. I think it
Yeah.
was chapter let me see here. It was chapter 9. In chapter 9, it's the one where Nakamura passes him the note and says, "Meet me in the library," and she
Yep.
says at the very end of the chapter, like, "Psyche wants to have sex with you."
Yep.
But
Yep.
the
Yep.
translator's notes at the end pointed out that, given like the original Japanese,
Yep.
what Psyche would have heard as she was walking by was that Nakamura wanted to have sex with him. Like she was
Right.
saying that.
All right. So from my manga, from the official publishing that I read. So she Nakamura say that Saiki want to have sex with him, But from Saki's side, she only hear the want to have sex with you part.
Right, right. Yeah, that's what
So
I was trying
yep,
clumsily to explain.
it's not considered at all. So yes, so yeah, so that's why she's depressed, and that's why she wanted Kasuga. That was his name, right?
Yeah,
To say everything about himself, which
right. That's in chapter 10 when he brings the printouts.
yeah, which he end up not saying anything, and I would say that if even like uh if he confessed to her everything to her, it might have been different.
I don't
Not
know, man. What if you were her and some guy like coolly and calmly confesses to stealing your clothes? What are you gonna
well,
do?
yeah, well, what she know anyway, right? She know like later on that he was the one who did that. He was the one who stole her gym clothes. He was the one who like what they say like like
Vandalized?
vandalized the classroom, and she okay with that.
But I think the reason that she's okay with it is because it comes out in such a strange way. Like his
Yep,
hand is essentially forced,
yep,
and
mm-hmm.
and it kind of removes him from the picture for her because she has the crush on him.
Yeah,
So as a result of like that coming out and him like shutting himself away from her,
yep,
that's why she's okay with it because she just wants him to like come back. She wants to get him back.
yeah. So
If he had taken the opportunity in chapter 10 to confess all the stuff he had done,
yep,
when there was less pressure on him and he was just coming forward with it, I can't imagine that she would have been like, "Oh, okay, cool. Want to make out?"
right.
Like I can't see that
No,
happening.
no, but well, right. I think you're right. I think it's more like uh the more that Kasuga want to pull out from her, the more that she want to pull him back.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's true because she seems to have a very shaky self-concept.
Yep. That's right. That's right as well, and that's one of the things that I feel I feel bad for her characters, because she like everyone looking her as a perfect image, even Kasuga, that see her as like a perfect muse to him, but she turned out just like very she need to rely on people, and she especially to her boyfriend, and
Yeah.
Kasuga just like just very fixation to Nakamura and not to her, and that's hurt her a lot.
Well, he that's the thing. Like he is fixated on her, just not in the way that she needs. I wouldn't like. I
Mhm.
really hesitate to use the term deserve when you're
Yep.
talking about like romantic
Relationship.
compatibility or viability. Yeah,
Yep.
relationships.
Mhm.
Um, she whether or not she deserves a certain kind of person, that's up for like interpretation. But the
Yep.
kind of person that she needs is someone who will appreciate her as a human being.
Yep.
And that's not something that Kasuga is capable of because of the way that he like deifies her.
Yep.
He can't even respect himself as a human being.
Right.
And part of that is like, uh, well, we don't really know that much about his childhood or his backstory or anything like that.
Mhm.
But we know that Nakamura is able pretty easily to corrupt him.
Right. That's a
Because
good word.
he's the sort of person who is easily corrupted. He's like, I mean, he's probably kind of similar to Psyche, in all honesty, in that she is not very sure of herself, and
Well,
he's probably the same way because he's trying to find a personality in these books, like these works of literature
yep.
in foreign languages. As a middle school kid, he doesn't know what to think of himself, so he's looking for things to think of himself in other people's writings.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I would say that almost all the middle schoolers kid will be, that unsure about themselves, like
Yeah,
Kasuga or Asaki.
yeah, I guess that's true. Maybe
So,
not to the extent that Nakamura. I mean, Nakamura
yep,
is probably much more sure of herself than the other two.
right.
It's just that her it manifests itself in kind of a disgusting way.
Yeah, but when you think about that, it's more about it's not only that Kasuga is being manipulated by Nakamura, but they also share something of the same. So it's not
Yeah.
the pervert thing, because maybe like Kasuga had that pervert side of that himself, but it's more about like like their frustration to the place that they live, to the town, that they feel very boring and they want to get out of it. So
Right.
that's the whole other things where they wanted to go to the other side of the mountain and wanted to see what really is there,
Yeah.
so they kind of share that same belief, and I think that's one of the things that why Nakamura find him interesting in the first place.
I think the main reason Nakamura finds him interesting is because he's just like he's a toy for her to
He's a
play
toy.
with.
That's right.
I do think that she probably has some sort of attraction to him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're both teenagers
Mm-hmm.
and they're spending a lot of time together. That sort of thing tends to happen. Um, and
And
and he probably holds some sort of allure. Like he's reading all these complicated books.
yep.
He seems to be like a little bit of a weirdo, a little bit of an outcast. So that might be attractive to somebody like Nakamura, who herself is on the fringes of her class.
I think Saki is the one who more attracted to Kasuga reading books than
Yeah,
Nakamura.
that's true. I that's definitely true. But I do think that Nakamura might like. Isn't that the basis of one of their first conversations that we see is him reading that book and she's like kind of
Yeah,
staring at him as he's doing it?
yeah. Well, but yeah, but apart from that though, they never talk about books.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It is Psyche who seems to be impressed by like in chapter 7
Yep.
when they go on the date to the used bookstore.
Yep.
Kasuga, like how much he loves books and stuff.
Yep.
The author of the manga like makes him look so cute when he's explaining it, and Psyche is so impressed by him.
Like his eyes so brightened, when he say about his passions. That I think
Yeah,
Saki feel that as well. So that
yeah,
well, yeah. And it turned out that in chapter 19, I think that he said like he himself doesn't understand all the context. He just wanted, you know, to 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 pretend that it's not like pretend, but he just wanted to pretend that he knows, so that he can be different from the rest of the
right.
class.
From all the peasants.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
And
chapter 17. Yeah, when he's like essentially breaking down.
yeah,
The two girls are like, you know,
and I love that scene. I love the scene where like he just like breaking down, saying everything, and refuse to do anything at all. So
yeah,
that
he won't go with either one of them. He won't make a choice, and
yeah,
he even says like I can't. It's not something for me to do. I can't make a choice. I don't have the right.
and that actually pissed Saki and Nakamura off. So
Yeah, of course.
yeah, so I just love the way they did. So like Saki, she just like throw away the book that he gave her, and it's Nakamura who turn up that book and throw it to his face. So
Yeah.
I just love that. I just love like that's their says about how Kasuga being a spyless characters.
Well, I do wonder like why name your manga The Flowers of Evil if you're just gonna deface the book.
Maybe that what he wanted to do himself.
I mean, the have you read some of the translations of
No.
the author's notes at the end of the volumes
Oh,
and stuff?
I read some of that. Yes.
Yeah, like apparently some of the Nakamura is based on a character that he really knew in
Yeah. Yeah.
school
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah, so
Right.
this is, I mean, obviously this isn't autobiographical, but there are some elements of his
They
life or the things that he like, I don't know, fantasized about doing maybe as a kid
the
that are in here.
that's right. The hometown. This guy the characters are in are from the hometown of of his old hometown. He even said like uh, the park where Kasuga confessed it to Saki
And gets the
was,
water dumped on him.
yeah, that's right. Were just like just some minutes walk away from his own house.
Huh.
Yep. So, and now it's been abandoned, so it doesn't have the swing anymore. It just had the frame of the swing, which is really
Uh-huh.
cool. Yep. So
I didn't read that part, I guess.
yes. So I would definitely say that it come from its own childhood. It come from like it's another version of him from the childhood, but like all the feeling about like heading the town is boring is it actually really like authentic.
I for me, like, this town is boring. There's nothing to do here. For me,
Right.
the best version of that is Furikuri's version.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
That's
definitely
how
agree on that. Yep.
that's how Furikuri opens. Is the
That,
main character saying, "There's nothing ever happens here. There's nothing to do here."
that's right. That's right.
I just
So
I just love Furikuri.
well, I just love Flower of Evils. So yeah, I think it actually pretty good as well to see like how Saki sucked into that spiral down to like to the evil side, to the madness
Right.
herself.
When you say the evil side, are you talking about that thing that Nakamura says? When she's like, "Where are you going with Nakamura?" She says, He's going with me to the other side."
I didn't thinking about that. I just thinking about like a staircase, just spiral down to the darkness.
Did you in your translation, what words did she use
Oh,
when she said do you know what I'm talking about when Psyche says, like, "Where are you going?" When she finally catches up with them on her bike, she says, "Where are
yeah.
you going?" And Nakamura says, "He's going with me to the other side."
I think they say that as well.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. I'm not 100% sure about that. But I think the other side is a one of the theme, one of the motif of this manga as well.
What is the other side?
Yeah, what is the other side? That is true because we don't know what is the other side and what lies in the other side.
Oh, yeah, we do. Like, on the other side of the mountain, you mean?
Yeah, well,
It's probably like another town.
yeah, that's right. But they didn't know that when they was a middle schooler.
I think they probably suspected it on some
Yeah,
level.
yeah. Well, but yeah. So I think it's cover like I think it's cover like episode 10 or 11 of the anime now. So we have only like 2 or 3 more chapters before we get into the new materials.
Right. Right,
And,
right.
all right, how you feel about the manga so far?
Chapter 16, definitely my favorite chapter.
Which is
It's the one where where Psyche first catches up with them on her bike
all right.
on the
And
mountain, and it's raining.
yep.
Because it's really my interpretation of it
Mhm.
makes the manga a lot more interesting than it was for me up until that point.
All right.
Like, there's so much talk about, like, sexual perversion
Mm-mm-mm.
and just being a pervert and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what I'm getting from the manga is that it's actually like, I don't know, maybe it's some sort of commentary on the nature of perversion, what it means, what it is, because Psyche keeps insisting that Kasuga is not perverted.
Mhm.
Yeah, despite Nakamura, like, presenting him as having, messed with her clothes, and she even, like, strips him down in front of her.
Yep.
But Psyche is totally accepting of that.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and in fact, she says it kind of makes her, like, feel happy and feel wanted,
Mhm.
that he was thinking of her while he was doing it.
Yep.
So the Nakamura claims that she's perverted, just like Kasuga, and that's why they're running away together. But in fact, Nakamura is actually a prude, because she sees sex as something like strange and foreign. But Psyche is actually more liberal, like sexually speaking. She sees Kasuga's obsession with her as like normal and typical and even flattering. So it's Nakamura and Kasuga who think of themselves as being perverted, but really they're just afraid. And it's Psyche she has no fear of that sort of thing. So I think that from my point of view, at least, the commentary that's being offered here is that we kind of have it backwards when we think about perversion. The people who are most accepting of that sort of stuff are actually they're like more advanced or more evolved. They're unafraid. They're not limited in the way that Nakamura and Kasuga are. So I related to what Psyche was saying when she denies over and over, no, he's not perverted. No, he's not perverted. Obviously, where she's coming from as a character, like as a human being in this story, is that she's like a girl with a crush. So she doesn't want to accept the fact that the guy she likes is so twisted.
Yeah.
But by being able to accept that part of him, she's actually demonstrating a lot more maturity.
That's right. Well, that's a pretty good read on the nature of perverted, because I think that's one of the main of the main thing the mangaka wanted to say.
I mean, yeah, his characters are saying the word over and over.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that there is an afterword or something that he mentioned that, like, if one of the readers read after reading this manga and think again about what is perverted and what you think about the people who are perverted, like what you just said. He said like he did his job. So wow, bravo, man. You only graduated from like reading and assessing your thought on the manga.
What have I graduated from? What'd you say?
from like reading the meaning, like finding out the meaning of the manga, because I think that this is the main thing the mangaka want to transfer across.
Well, I'm like, despite my interest in the dynamic between the three characters on the mountain.
Yep.
That's like my favorite scene by far. I think it probably was in the anime as well. Although I really do love the classroom defilement scene.
Right. Yep.
That I mean, we're only a third of the way through the manga at this point, but I still don't know like what the theme is of the story, or what the message is of the story. That hasn't become clear to me yet. I think I understand the characters pretty well, but I don't know.
I actually think that this is a good thing. This is a good thing that for now we just suck into the characters and don't care much about the theme, because when the manga finish, then we can see like how all these end up or not. Like what the theme he wanted to say about, and if he's successful to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
I do think that it's obviously you wanna look back on a work after it's completely finished before you judge how successful it was in conveying a certain message, or what the meaning was all along. But I would like some more. I feel as though some clarity is missing, because on the one hand, the series seems to glorify Kasuga for his complicated taste in literature and stuff, and on the other hand, it rips up the book and throws it in his face and stamps on it.
right.
I don't get the sense yet that Kasuga is the worm that he says he is.
All right. So
because we have spent a lot of time so far, like, in his head, from his point of view, trying desperately to get out of all these situations that Nakamura keeps putting him in, that he keeps putting himself in. So I guess we just haven't gotten depraved enough. We haven't gotten deep enough
That's
into the
right. Well,
hole.
so yes, down to the rabbit hole we will. And I would say that the one of the thing that the anime does right as well is that it end for me it's end on the first act of the whole manga things. So like this is the act where Kasuga being very confused. He doesn't know what to do. He being really manipulated by Nakamura. So
Right.
next volume will be yeah the maybe the start of the new act. So wait and see.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
I do want to see some new material, so I'm glad we,
yep,
did like a double dip this time.
right. And one little thing that I want to mention before we end is that actually this two volume is the one that we can see some of the sexual tensions from from Kasuya to the two girls. But like remember the scene where I think it was in the first volume where he actually see the price of Psyche when she like looking down.
Yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and later on in I think in chapter 16, 15, we actually see Nakamura like getting wet, and we see like the bra like visibly.
Right.
So that I think also like add to the both the confusion and like the sexual tension between him and Nakamura. So like now he find Nakamura more attracting, more attractive.
Yeah. Well, the way that those last couple of chapters are presented certainly has him like he's like literally torn between the two girls.
Mm-hmm.
What's more interesting to me is that they have conflicting points of view
Yep.
about like sex, about normalcy,
Mm-hmm.
about pretty much everything. They're like they couldn't be more different, you know.
Yep.
But even if you step back from that and if you take out what the characters represent and you just look at like a boy between two girls,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's true that he's I don't know, in his mind he's probably weighing both of them as like sexual prospects.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well,
we get like, we see what he's looking at,
yep.
like you said,
And I
which
just love
I think is necessary because it's a show about like 13 or 14-year-olds, something like that.
right. I love the three main characters so far, and I always have the soft spot for the third VR. So I always have the soft spot for Psyche.
I like Saiki and Nakamura. I don't really like Kasuga very much. I don't think
Uh,
he's that
he's a
interesting.
good right. Well, okay. Yep. So next volume is the time might be different. So let's just wait and see.
Oh, you mean there's a time skip?
Oh no. I mean like the wave. I mean like just the situation. Like
Oh, so
Cash.
you're saying there's a time skip?
No. So there isn't a time skip. So
Okay.
that should be alright. Well, I don't want to spoil anything. Nope.
Well, I already
We
know what
stop here.
happens in like the next few chapters, but I won't for
Yeah.
what comes after that.
All right.
So yeah,
So
no spoilers, please.
no spoilers at all. All right.
Okay.
Let's get into the last show of this postcard, which is Chan Robo, episode
Yeah.
4.
Yep.
All right. So tell me how you feel about the episodes. Whooper.
I thought it was pretty okay.
Yep. So
Whenever
now
you approach a series like this, which has some like gigantic reputation,
Yep.
you're like when you're watching, whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously, you're kind of weighing it against the image of it that you built up in your head.
Right. Expectation.
Yeah. So for me, I'm pretty. I wouldn't say I'm pretty disappointed. I'm a little disappointed,
Mhm.
just by like the lack of complexity surrounding Daisaku's character. Even
Yeah.
like we still don't know what the deal is with his dad having created Giant Robo and working for Big Fire and stuff. The show is holding that card to its chest. But even when we get it, like it's only going to be another piece of information. about him. I don't know how much it'll change who he is as a person, or what his character represents, or what the message of the series or anything like that. I have this fear that whatever reveals may come, they're only going to change, or that they won't change much. Like they'll just be new bits of knowledge that we have about the characters.
All right. I partly agree with you on that. I do feel that there might be something else that that completely change the characters, because when you think about that, this show is about giant robot, so they have like the name in there. So I would say that there still has some more of like development for him and the giant robot, especially like the chemistry between them.
I don't know. I kind of feel as though it's more about the human characters than Giant Robo. Giant Robo is just like along for the ride.
All
He's
right.
just hanging out. He's like
Well,
literally hanging out of the
yeah.
aircraft in
Well,
episode 4.
for now, but I yeah. Well, I do feel I do agree with with what you say, but this is also like what the show try to like develop Daisaku a bit this last episodes
Yeah,
by
it did.
by having him like saying regarding Jan Robo not as a tool but like as a friend, so like not
Yeah.
commanding him to do stuff but like
But still commanding him to do stuff and just
care about
being
his
more
feeling.
friendly about it.
That is exactly right. Yes. That's what
Yeah.
that's the impression I got.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, but
That's what Taiso sacrifices himself to do, essentially. Is like he
that's
sacrifices himself for Giant Robo's sake,
right.
so that Daisaku will come to the revelation that, like you said, Giant Robo is not a tool. He's a partner. Uh, but I don't know. That felt kind of hollow to me. That didn't really feel very. It didn't have a lot of like oomph behind it. It didn't make me feel very satisfied, because Daisaku was already like really devoted to Robo,
Yep.
and when Robo seems to die, near the beginning of episode 4, like he's got the oil like tears
Lick.
streak down his
Yep.
face and stuff, and his
Yep.
eyes, like the camera in his eyes isn't moving, so he appears to have died, and Daisaku seems to come to that realization. He like mourns his death essentially.
Yep.
So it seems to me that he was already kind of seeing Robo as more than just like a bunch of scrap metal. He already seemed to have a connection with him on kind of a human level.
Yep.
So when Taiso sacrifices himself for something that seems to maybe have already been achieved, I was
Yeah.
like, that feels bad.
Well, he not necessarily sacrificed to save Jan Robo. It's part of his sacrifice, but he stayed there because they need someone who like who control all the lasers things.
Right, like the electromagnetic net that they
Yeah,
have set
yeah,
up.
that's right. So yes, so that is also the main part that he had to stay behind. I like it though that like the show actually kill up many of the characters. They they use Taisho at the sacrifice this week, and I would say that the blue beast, which is which was his,
Yoshi,
yeah, which was his wife.
right.
Well, I would reckon that she will be killed as well.
What happens to her again? I remember that she's like in the middle of a big fight at the end of episode 4, but she doesn't, and she uses that staff
all right,
to
what
separate the airship from the lower part.
Now, what happened afterwards? It was that I passed out.
What?
I literally watch it, and then I fall asleep. So like the last few minutes of the Giant Robo was very shaky for me. Sorry, I can't give you any more informations.
Okay. Well, I'm struggling to remember, because I remember like the entire second half of episode 4. The second half was my favorite by far, because there weren't so many like long lingering shots of Daisaku,
And Giant
looking
Robos.
looking sadly at Giant Robo's corpse.
Of course.
The second half of episode 4 is pretty cool because it keeps moving back and forth between all the conflicts that are going on the airship.
Yep.
You know, there's that samurai looking guy with a mask who's fighting against Yoshi and Issei, the monk.
Yep.
And then there's Genya or Emmanuel. I don't know what to call him because he has two different names.
All right.
But it's Ginrei's brother who boards, and he looks like Vogler.
Yep.
And he's pinning people's shadows up against the wall with those red needles, and
yep.
And then there's constant cuts to the exterior of the airship where Giant Robo is hanging on, so his presence is like fresh in our mind for when he finally busts in, and like it just seems to be, all the scenes seem to be very well cut together.
Right.
And like a lot of the intensity is maintained throughout that entire sequence. But all that being said, I talked about all that, but I can't remember exactly how it ends with regards to Yoshi's character. Like, I know she uses the staff, which magically elongates and separates the bottom half of the airship from the top. But I can't remember what happens to her.
I think it just happened like right in the middle, so we didn't know about the results yet.
Oh, it was like a cliffhanger?
Yeah, that's a cliffhanger. That's what I think.
Yeah. I guess so. I mean, I hope she doesn't die.
Well,
it might be sort of a death flag, like having your husband die and then being like so stoic about it and preparing yourself for battle, essentially. Mm-hmm. It might be her fate to like follow him into the next life.
Yeah. Something
like that. But I don't really remember.
And we actually learn about Ginrei's special, like special power as well.
Right,
so
right.
She can telegraph, what they say?
Teleport,
yeah. And it actually very dangerous as well, since it can cost her life. I don't even know how they're gonna use that as like a piece of information, because I think that's the revealing. It's really big. Was really like epic. The way that every character just say like, oh, you use this special power.
Right. I was a little confused by, like, when Alberto is fighting all the experts of justice and he's chasing her through the city.
Right. Yep.
And it seemed to me as though she had some sort of force field, because remember his arm kind of gets sucked into.
Yeah. That's right.
Whatever is going on with her, and his arm's like kind of disintegrating, like waving back and forth, and he's like freaking out.
Yep.
But apparently she was just like preparing to teleport away, and his arm was going to be taken with her. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe she was teleporting his arm.
Yep.
I don't know. It's not totally clear.
Yep. So.
But yeah, you're right. The characters all react very strongly to the fact that she's used this power. They're all like worried about her.
That brings me to the next point. Now that I think about it, so why doesn't she teleport to Daisho, save him, and then leave? Oh, but he been shot before, right?
He's been what before?
He been shot. Remember, like he have half of his body gone already.
Right. Well, why didn't she save him before that?
Yeah. Well.
As a matter of fact, I mean, we have an explanation. Is that you're about to say it?
It cost her life to do that. And she doesn't even know like where she teleport as well.
Yeah. Well, doesn't Tetsugu say, or somebody says, that her power is literally to teleport to the other side of the world?
The other side of the world.
Like, yeah, like specifically, that's her power.
All right, so like another the other side. Just like Flower of Evils.
The other side.
Did they just say? Did they actually say that? Like, teleported to the other side of the world.
Yeah, one character phrases it that way. And again, we were talking about this earlier. You can't like be totally sure. It's not my first language, so I don't know for sure if the subs are like perfectly accurate. But somebody says that.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, I don't either. There's a lot of stuff that I still don't understand about this series.
Yeah, and And do you think that Vogel is dead, or is that he's still
Man,
alive, or is that
I
just
I
like
don't know.
is that just like an image of his son?
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Genya,
Yeah, yeah.
or Ginrei calls him Emmanuel.
All right.
That's the name that she uses for her brother. But
I I I
like on
I just call him Kinray brother from now.
right, that works too. Um, why does he appear as his father?
No,
I have no idea.
I think that's one of his like special power. But I don't know that if Vogel is alive or not, or is that like just
I don't
have
know.
been Ginray brothers, like camouflage.
Oh, you mean like the image of him that appears outside of that big sphere?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I have no idea.
Right.
I mean, I kind of feel as though he's alive, right? Wouldn't he be like the big villain?
Yeah, well, we don't know that for sure.
I mean, I at this point I feel as though this series is like simple enough that he's probably alive and he's probably the big bad guy. I don't know
Or
if there's going to be a twist on that.
yeah, or maybe it's not that simple. Maybe it's too complex that he ends up to be alive.
Maybe, and
And
peasants like us just can't understand.
yep.
If only Kasuga were here, he could explain it all.
Oh man.
Why isn't anime real?
So yep. So I think like compared to the first two episodes, this is still a step down. It's a big improvement regarding the third episode though. But I wanted more from the show. So I hope that the last three episodes will now it's get into like the middle point. I hope that they're getting better.
Yeah. It's the show's like, I don't know. It's not offering a lot of commentary anymore. Like
Hmm.
the
That's
Shizuma
right.
Drive at this point is just a MacGuffin. It's like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. It's just the thing that everyone wants, and that the story revolves around it. But we're not. There's just a gigantic conflict that all the characters are in the middle of now, and it's not.
Mhm.
I don't know, the concept of sustainable energy
I
and how that would impact the planet and all that. That seems to have been kind of removed as the focus of the series, and now we're getting more. I mean, the combat in the series is great,
yeah,
so
that's right.
that's okay. That's okay, but I
Ye-
you know
Uh,
the characters aren't really carrying it for me, and that's what I would need at this point.
yep, yep. I actually like another fact that I think the whole show, it spanned for like just a few days in the series times, or maybe
Yeah,
10 days or something. So like from the beginning until now, it's just like several days just been happening, and I like it that I like it. It's fast paced enough.
I don't know. Um, I kind of feel as though like Daisaku fighting alongside Giant Robo
Mm-hmm.
and like to help the experts of justice
Uh-huh.
in this like big confrontation. I feel like that might work better as like the conclusion to a much longer story, like a
Right.
26 episode OVA, where maybe not with like double length episodes, but
Yep.
if we saw him introduced to the experts of justice like at the start of the series, let's say, and then it builds and builds and builds over time
Mm-hmm.
to this point where this cataclysmic event happens like near the end of the series, then I might get a little more satisfaction from seeing him fight alongside Giant Robo,
Right. Right.
and like take his place, as part of the experts, and like it might make a little more sense for him to be there. I don't know. I just
Yep.
the fact that it is all concentrated on this one terrible event that happens only over the span of a few days. Like a lot of the events of the series kind of feel thrust upon me.
Mhm.
And that doesn't stop me from appreciating it on the whole.
All right.
But
But that
I don't know. It's
actually yeah.
go ahead.
I just say that it's actually interesting to see like the whole event in the series happened in a span of few days, but the OVA itself it takes like 8 years
Yeah,
to finish. It's just
I
amazing.
think it was. I honestly I think it was more like 4 or 5.
All right.
I don't
It's
think it was
like
quite 8 because it was from like 92 to 96 or something.
98, I think.
Really? Okay.
Yep. Chernobyl.
It certainly took a long time.
All right. You
And I
have.
mean,
Yep.
the production's real good, so
That's right.
it
That's
does
right.
it does show in the work how long it took.
Yep. So it takes from 1992 to 1998.
Okay.
6 years. Yep. All right. You have any other notes on the Chernobyl?
No. I guess I got a couple. Oh, here's one. Ginrei didn't seem to recognize her brother.
Doesn't seem to.
When she first sees him.
All right. Yeah.
When she first sees him, she doesn't recognize who he is. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to be relevant at all.
Yeah, but eventually that she does, right? Or she
Yeah,
still.
she does eventually, but they may be kind of like estranged because she calls him by a different name, like a name that we're not used to. Maybe that's a name that she came to
Used to
associate
call.
with him because her mother called him that or something because I don't know, they're parents of different mothers and the same father or something. I'm just like I'm curious about their backstory, I guess.
Yeah, but I remember from the from the flashback, she actually saved her brothers when she teleporting, right?
Yeah, I think that was him.
So
I also kind of thought that it was one of the other scientists.
Hold on, because we actually remember his face when he said about the event that of the Earth stood stand stills for like 7 days. I will check back on that to see if it's like the same character design. If they are the same persons.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure if she saves her brother. I kind of think she does, but I guess we'll figure that out before we see the next episode.
All right. Yep. All good.
And I'm done.
All right. So to close up, we have like another 2 or 3 weeks before this season end, and I think afterwards we will do like the anime of the year, right, Whooper?
Yeah, in early January.
In
Probably.
early January, and then we will do the we will pick out like 10 shows for the next season as well.
Yeah, I'll do it same as always. I think the system that we've been using. I mean, it obviously didn't work too well this time because we've dropped all but one of those shows.
Yep.
But I mean, I think it works as a selection method nonetheless.
Yeah, that's right. So yep, for those of you who still listen to this podcast, thank you and enjoy the Christmas period.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Happy
Alright.
holidays.
We still have 2 weeks to say that actually.
Yeah, I guess so.
So, yep. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.